Apparently, Aussies want to pay more taxes. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because, well, I don't quite understand what we're about to look at here. You know, a surprising group fighting stage 3 tax cuts revealed in a new survey. Okay, I don't know if this is surprising at all, but a surprising group of people who are fighting the monster stage 3 tax cut has been revealed. Now, Australia has a progressive taxation system. The more you earn, the more taxes you pay. So whenever they bring in tax cuts, that means the wealthier, richer people who pay more taxes will get more back, while the poor people who don't earn as much and who also don't pay as much get less back, less of a deduction. That's, well, fair and reasonable. That's how we've decided this system works, or the system we've been burdened with, and it makes complete sense. But of course, the media just likes to highlight the fact that the richer people are getting these huge discounts and painting this picture that for some reason people that pay much less tax deserve a better discount. I think they're intentionally being misleading to generate clicks and get attention. That's at least what I suspect is happening. So let's look at this. Almost twice as many Australians want the stage 3 income tax cut scrapped as those who want to keep them, a new survey suggests. So people are happy paying more taxes. Does that make sense to you? I don't understand. And I asked viewers on the channel just 7 minutes ago. I put a poll up there. 71% or 71 people voted. 18% said yes, they want to pay more taxes. I don't understand why. And 82% say no, they don't want to pay more taxes. Now, I would argue that you can make better use of the resources for your future and your family yourself than the state. But, you know, I guess that's just me. Let's look at some of the comments here. Only two certain things in life, death and taxes. I identify as tax exempt. Yeah, that doesn't really work. 20% voters think yes. They think they don't pay duties, GST, excise taxes. Why a product? Yeah, okay. Ben is quite frustrated with all the taxes for everything that comes into Australia. And we are a very, very highly taxed society. One of the highest in the world. It's quite frustrating. There you go. It's gone up to 19%. I'm surprised. I mean, do you voluntarily pay extra to the tax department? You know, you can give them more money as a donation. You're able to do that. Has anyone ever done that? The Australian Institute has released a poll which found 41% of people support the Albanese government repealing the tax cuts, compared with 22% who are opposed. Well, what about all the rest of Australians? The progressive, there you go, think tank enlisted pollster Dane Utter to conduct a nationally representative online survey of 1,409 voters over 3 days in early September. Nearly half, 46% of the people surveyed identified that the cuts would benefit higher income earners the most. Okay. Should we be worried that that many people don't understand our taxation system here in Australia? I mean, should we be worried about that? To me, that it makes common sense that if you pay more taxes, we reduce the tax rate, and we have, you know, moving things around with percentage-wise, that the people who are paying more are going to get a greater benefit. That's the whole point. And then what they'll do is they'll usually piss that money away on things. 43% of respondents who identify as Labor voters support the cuts being ditched. Okay, so 43% of Labor voters. The stage 3 tax cuts are the third in the series of cuts introduced by the former coalition government after the first two tranches offered targeted tax relief to lower and middle income taxpayers. I mean, we really need simplification of our tax system here in Australia. It's just crazy. And this is what is causing some of the issues in the housing market, because people are paying so much tax and they're investing in housing to negative gear to, well, offset that tax. The Labor government has come under political pressure to backflip on its election commitment to keep the Stage 3 cuts in place, given the economic storm gripping the country. So it's like what happened in the UK. They cut taxes, but it was kind of like, it was a fake tax cut because they didn't cut their costs. So they were going to fund these tax cuts by issuing bonds, and that just exacerbated a lot of the issues they have over there. The cuts will kick in from July 2024 and abolish the entire 38% tax bracket, meaning everyone earning between $45,000 and $200,000 will pay only 30% of every dollar they earn. Fantastic. That's simplifying the system. Okay, you earn up to 200 grand, you only pay 30%. You still have to pay 30% between 45 and 200,000. I mean, that's a lot of tax you've got to pay, but it makes it simpler. That's what you want. You want more money in the hands of people, not in the hands of politicians. And 200 grand, you know, it's significant income. It's good money, but it's not insane money. Okay? You'd be going around hanging out with a whole lot of people earning 200 grand a year, and they're not going to act any different to you. You know, they may buy slightly more expensive and wankerish clothing items probably, but, you know, it doesn't matter. Then again, there's a lot of people who have lots of money who love being cheap. The policy means around 95% of Australians will face a marginal tax rate of no more than 30%, as well as the 2% Medicare levy. There you go. That's what we want. We want less of a tax burden on Australians so they can save and build their own legacy. Critics say the Stage 3 cuts, which will cost the federal government more than $20 billion a year and an estimated $243 billion over a decade, are not affordable or equitable. Well, then cut services that you don't need. There's a whole lot of things the government's producing. Find savings. Come on, do your job. The Australia Institute poll found 61% of Australians thought adapting economic policy to suit changing circumstances was more important than keeping an election promise. Asked what they thought was better for the nation's long-term interests, 60% of respondents chose increased spending on government services like healthcare and education, compared with 15% who selected proceeding with the tax cuts. So I'm definitely in the minority here. Because we already spend a significant amount of money on health and education, and there becomes a point where you just chucking more money at it isn't going to make any difference, or it's going to have it'll just be a waste. Look at our education system. We need reform in our curriculum. We need to everyone's complaining, we don't have enough time to do this or that or the other. Teachers complaining, we don't have enough time to do all the work we have to do. Okay, reduce the curriculum. Cut out all the waffle and the bullshit. Get rid of all the political garbage and just focus. Focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic. Just that. Come on. More money isn't going to solve any of the education problems that we have here in Australia. I mean, what do I have? I've got to update it. Our education system here in Australia is... Here we go. There we go. I found it. Our academic trends are just crashing, guys. The building education revolution made no difference to our education outcome. And, I mean, we've looked at the curriculum. We have to. As homeschoolers, we need to look at it and assess it and review it. There's so much in there. So much waffle. The school that we were in changed their entire approach, and it just... For primary school students, it just became nuts, the amount of workload they were throwing on them. And it gets to a point where you throw so much work on people, they don't actually learn anything. And add to that all of the political rubbish, it's getting worse. And healthcare, it's the same thing, everyone. You've got to find ways to be more efficient. Just throwing more money at it doesn't always work. Because there'll never be enough. It'll never be enough. The polls show high-income Australians were more aware of the Stage 3 cuts and were more likely to support their repeal than lower-income earners. Of the respondents who identified as Greens voters, 54% wanted the cuts to be scrapped, compared with 46% of independent voters and 35% of coalition voters and 19% of One Nation voters. Well, why don't the Greens voters, all of them, why don't they pay extra tax? They can donate extra tax themselves to the tax department. Just, send it there. Then it's the same. It's voluntary. We can. What about we have voluntary additional tax payments by people? Or maybe we should just make all Greens voters pay more tax. You fill out your political allegiance and who you voted for at the last election on your ATO form, and that affects your tax rate. And maybe all the Greens members, they pay extra tax. What do you think about that? I think that's a brilliant idea, guys. I wonder if that would affect how people voted. The Australia Institute Executive Director, Richard Denise, said more than 1/3 of the survey's respondents said they were still making up their minds. Dr. Denise said, this indicates the debate is there to be won or lost based on the economic evidence and on what is fair. Voters expect responsible management of the economy, he said. The fact is the economic conditions of 2022 and budget projections over the forward estimates are vastly different to when these tax cuts for high-income earners were first announced by Morrison in 2018. Jim Chalmers has stared down calls to scrap or amend the Stage 3 cuts as he prepares to deliver his first budget later this month. The Treasurer told ABC 7:30 last Thursday, our position on the tax cuts hasn't changed. Our policy is as it has been. We do need to make sure the money that we invest in the budget, from the budget, in the Australian people and their economy does get maximum bang for buck, he said. I mean, here's the thing. Where does all the money come from? From the government. They hoover it up out of all of us. They borrow it and work future generations to pay it off. So they're taking money out of the economy and then redeploying it into the economy. And it goes through this great machine of bureaucracy and inefficiency. Dr. Chalmers told reporters at Parliament House last Wednesday he had no reason to remove the cuts at this stage. Even if we took some of the steps that people have been urging us to do on these Stage 3 cuts, that would not change the inflationary environment that we are confronting right now. I think the public conversation sometimes doesn't quite understand that. Dr. Chalmers made the observation as he handed down the federal government's final budget position, which showed the deficit for 21-22 had fallen from a forecast $79 billion to $32 billion because of high commodity prices and low unemployment. So it hasn't been as bad as they expected. The budget was a lot better than they expected. So all the more reason. So that, what's that? Billions of dollars savings. That can give us a few years of these tax cuts, can't it? Let's jump back over to the poll I put up 23 minutes ago. Now we've had 132 respondents. 14% said yes. 86% said no. So congratulations, HeiseSays viewers. You're in the minority with me. We don't want to pay more taxes. Here we go. Stephen's laughing out loud. Manflinil loves paying taxes. Ben is going off about duties. Only two things are certain. Yep. And I identify as tax exempt. Good luck with that, mate. You have to do it the Australian way by buying houses and negative gearing them. So let's have a talk about this, everybody. I'm skeptical of the results, but I don't know. Do people think that the government can do a better job with their money than them? Or maybe they truly believe in the benefit of getting the state to educate your children and to run all of these organizations and things, and they can't possibly be inefficient, or they can't possibly adapt to not having this money. And maybe having the money move through the economy in the private sector might be more effective. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on that one. What do you reckon? Are you surprised that a bunch of greenies want to pay more taxes? I can't see any of them voluntarily paying extra. I'd be shocked. It's all talk and bullshit on a survey. But when push comes to shove, it's like everything. Everyone's a globalist at the checkout. So all the talk of only buying Australian made or only doing this, it goes out the window. And everyone loves the idea of higher taxes when someone else is paying for it. As always, take care. Check out my other channels, HeiseBim and HeiseSays International. And if you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can financially support the channel via YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Aussie Broadband, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next episode of HeiseSays. I think people should have to send the money for every paycheck to the ATO so they feel the pain of paying taxes. That's what we need.